Hello, and welcome again to another episode of Ordinary Icons. My name is Beth Gilmore Williams, and I'm going to talk to you today about some of the first people that took positions that African Americans were not even allowed to have. So let's just talk about some of the first African Americans that worked in our own city hall. Now, as you probably, if you live here in Texarkana, you've heard that we were established in 1873. I may take you to debate on that because I can tell you, as Native Americans that were already established here in Texarkana, being a Choctaw Native American, and we have Cherokee family here as well, this was the Great Southwest. So we'll talk about that in another episode. But let's talk about the establishment that they say Texarkana was established in 1873. As a matter of fact, it was December the 8th is the date that they have for the history books for now. Hopefully we'll change that later. I can tell you that in speaking to some of the elders in our tribe that were here in summer, in their 90s, and they've been here for quite a while, they can tell you there was a place called Acorn Town. Now you think, what is Acorn Town? Well, anybody that lives here in Texarkana knows there is a division called Newtown. And Newtown, that was the name for it prior to being changed to what it is now. So you have a lot of people who will even tell you that Texarkana, the name itself, is because of the lines of the borders in which it lies. You have Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana, and Oklahoma as well, but Texarkana. Got it? Okay, now you're smart. One of the first people that I want to tell you that worked in our city hall, it didn't occur until 1970. Think about that. From 1873 to 1970. And the first person that had that honor was also a lady that grew up in the same division and the same location that my family was established in Texarkana. And it's called Rosehill. Muriel Bland. Miss Muriel Bland, not only did I know her children. We grew up together. As a matter of fact, one of her sons, Keith Bland, is one of my peers, one of my classmates. We both attended the same kindergarten and we both had the same elementary school at Theron Jones in Texarkana. Mrs. Muriel Bland took that job. She was first accepted in City Hall to work there in 1970. She worked there, as they said, they started her out in the copier room and it elevated from there. But upon her retirement, I can tell you, she worked at Walmart as a greeter and just had a fabulous time still being in Texarkana. I loved Mrs. Bland because I remember her. She was a slender woman, but always on the go, always had a smile, and was very good friends with my mother. She too attended some of these older schools like they had at the time, Sunset Central School. So these are schools that are no longer there. But then Dunbar was still there, so she attended that as well. She was born April 26, 1937. So she was born the same month as my mother, and as I said, they were great friends. I mean, she was just a few years older than my mother. Another person that worked at City Hall and is a great friend of my family and was wonderfully friends with my grandmother is a lady named Wilma Ivory. Now, Wilma, she was born July 23rd, 1950, and she attended Dunbar High School. Now, Wilma had an unusual school graduation, and I'm going to tell you why, because she started out with schools being integrated, and by the time that she had to leave Dunbar, we integrated in 1968, she had to stop going to Dunbar and go over to this new school, this newer white school that was known as Texas High School. And she'll tell you that she started at Dunbar, but she graduated from Texas High School. And Texas High School was also one of the locations that was not only blocked by a very well-known white doctor here in Texarkana. And so much so, his children still live and practice in Texarkana. Oh yes. The black community, the African American community knows well who they are, and they know well who their parents were. And I can tell you, the year that she told me that she had to go and integrate to Texas High School, Of course, that was on their mind, but there was no big mobs that met them after integration began. So Wilma graduated from Texas High School, but started at Dunbar High School. Another person, before we carry on, but Wilma's position when she started was that of payroll. Now, you have to be somebody to be in that payroll, because I worked in payroll and accounting in the military. So for her to get such a elite position as a payroll clerk and build up from there until her retirement, that was saying something. So Wilma started, as she said, back in 1980, I believe. Yes, she started in 1980, and by the time that she was there, there was still a little bit of racism going on. So she's the only one that's working in that department, but again, we're proud of all of her accolades and achievements, and she weathered the storm, and we're proud of her, and she's a history maker in Texarkana, and we love her. Now, moving to the next person, Natasha Henderson. Natasha is a beautiful young lady who's also a friend of mine, and together we served on one of the civic organizations here in Texarkana after I came home and retired from the military. I ran into her, we instantly clicked, and we've been friends ever since. And I didn't know at the time, here's this beautiful lady, and what is her job, what does she do? And when we were just having lunch and talking about it, she said, oh, I'm the assistant city manager for Texarkana, Texas. I went, you're what? They've got a black woman working as city manager? Oh, we're really making progress now. So she was born June 7th, 1980. So you can see here we are, we're progressing since integration and the Civil Rights Act has been passed. And I cannot tell you how proud I was to see a woman as beautiful as her with this magnitude to be able to be in a position like that in Texarkana. That's saying something, especially during the times that you would think that we should be much more advanced, but I was very, very proud and very honored to know that she served as assistant city manager for our city of Texarkana, Texas. She's still here, and she is has her own business now, and we're still friends and we still talk, so you may see her around. So if you see a beautiful woman with a great smile, that's Natasha Henderson, and that's my friend. And we love her, and we're very, very proud of her. She's made history. And our next African American female that worked at City Hall, she still currently works there and resides here in Texarkana. Her name is Jennifer Evans, and Jennifer is the city secretary for the city of Texarkana. I can tell you that she and I did much work and were involved back and forth interacting while she was under the leadership and guidance of the city manager at that time, Shirley Jaster. And upon Mrs. Jaster's retirement last year, Jennifer worked for her and worked with her, and she now works for the new city manager, Mr. David Orr. So Jennifer still holds that position, and if you're in Texarkana, you need anything, and you call, you'll hear this beautiful voice of Jennifer Evans. And I want you to know she too is a history maker in Texarkana. So it's those little things you may think that there's onesie, twosie here. You know, progress is progress. We have much more to do here in Texarkana, and we have many, many more women that we want to be able to talk about and what they're doing, and those positions that we can make sure that they're part of as the government here in Texarkana. So I want to thank you for joining us with the P.R.O Show for Women's History Month 2022. Again, my name is Bess Gamble Williams. Thank you for joining us with some of the city's first African American women who worked at City Hall in Texarkana, Texas. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.